Hi and welcome to another gaming video on my gaming section of my channel, and today I'm going to be playing a regular Nintendo DS game on a 3DS just to see if it's any different. I've got a DS Lite here, my trusty DS Lite, and I've been toying with the idea of buying a 3DS for a long time, and I managed to borrow my son's 3DS just to see what the difference is. I mean, I don't own any 3DS games, but I've got a bunch of DS games that I play regularly on my DS Lite, and one of them is Sonic All-Stars Racing. Sonic on a Nintendo, that's a bit of a sore point. When I play it on my regular DS, it's a great experience. The DS is not exactly the most powerful console, but I was quite pleasantly surprised. For a semi-3D kind of racing game, it handles very well. I've got my screen set to maximum brightness, so as you can see. And if we get into a bit of gameplay, but it's a fairly decent looking 3D game. I'm going backwards for some reason. There we go. Quite nippy, quite impressive for the hardware that's in the DS. But how different is that when you put it in a 3DS? My only bugbear with the 3DS is that it takes ages to come on. If we go across to DS sound. Obviously with the 3DS you've got a slightly different layout. Your D-pad is down here and you've got this little nub up here. I'm not going to call it a joystick or a thumbstick, I'll call it a nub because it's quite flat. It's similar to the PSP, it's very low. But when you compare it to what it looks like on the 3DS, you can see that the screens are much brighter, much clearer. I mean, I'm not going to say that the graphics are any different because I'm assuming the 3DS is running in DS mode. So now we'll see a little bit of gameplay here. So see the D-pad is dropped down. And you can play with either the stick or the D-pad. Not sure which I prefer, but I'm sure it will come in handy for some DS games. Oh, went the wrong way. But as you can see, the screens are a lot brighter, a lot crisper, and I think the graphics are slightly enhanced. But whether that is just because of the better hardware, it's still running in DS mode, so I'm assuming it's more mind over matter. But that's a 3DS playing DS games. Obviously, there's lots of different DS models, and depending on what you want to do, which one suits you best. The original DS and the DS Lite still had the Game Boy Advance port. So if that's something that you like to play, then you need a DS or DS Lite. But if you're not interested in Game Boy Advance games, then a 3DS is definitely the way to go because it will play DS, DSi games, and then you've also got the bonus of 3DS games. And it's just a lot more hardware in there. It's got other things to do than just play games. You've got the cameras, etc. But I was interested to find out how regular Nintendo DS games actually play in a 3DS, and I think you get a better experience. You've obviously got brighter screens, the choice of whether you use D-pad or the joystick nub thing, and possibly take a little bit advantage of the extra oomph in the 3DS, maybe menus, maybe load a little quicker and whatnot. But that's just a quick run through DS games running on a 3DS. I definitely are now going to try and go out and find one because this is my son's and I want one of my own. So yeah, like, subscribe, drop a comment, enjoy.